Breaking news has just come in regarding the actor Clifton Powell, whose life has taken an unexpected and shocking turn. Known for his memorable roles in films like Menace to Society and the Friday series, Powell has now received his final sentence, sending shockwaves throughout Hollywood. This update marks a pivotal moment in his life and career, and the world is left wondering whether this will be the end of his journey, or if he can somehow overcome the odds and find a path to redemption. The drama surrounding Powell is not just about one man's fall from grace, but also an exploration of how the entertainment industry often consumes its stars, leaving them struggling to pick up the pieces of their lives once the spotlight dims. Clifton Powell's story begins in a troubled neighborhood in southeast Washington, D.C., where he had to fight just to survive. Life in this part of the city was unforgiving, and for Powell, it was no different. Born and raised in one of the most dangerous areas, Powell lost his mother at the tender age of 4. Growing up with his alcoholic father, he had to mature quickly and fend for himself. He was exposed to the grim realities of street life at an early age, witnessing friends fall into the traps of drugs, crime, and violence. "I grew up in Southeast D.C., Powell once shared, his voice tinged with the weight of his experiences. "A lot of guys I grew up with ended up in jail, on drugs, or worse." The harshness of his environment gave Powell an understanding of the world that many of his peers would never know. But despite the odds stacked against him, Powell managed to survive, thanks to the support of a few key figures in his life. His sister played a crucial role in keeping him grounded, offering a sense of stability amidst the chaos. Additionally, a local man named Daryl Harvey took Powell under his wing when he was just 8 years old, guiding him through the challenges of growing up in a tough environment. This mentorship, along with the strong influence of his faith, would ultimately help Powell avoid falling into the same traps that claimed so many others from his neighborhood. Despite the overwhelming challenges, Powell's upbringing taught him valuable lessons that would shape his future. His experiences in the church, where he found solace and strength, gave him a sense of purpose that helped him navigate through life. "If I hadn't gotten out of the hood, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today," he reflected, acknowledging the power of his faith and the guidance of the mentors who believed in him. This determination and resilience would be the foundation for his rise in the world of Hollywood. While many of his peers succumbed to the dangers around them, Powell chose a different path, a path that led him from the streets of D.C. to the bright lights of Hollywood. His journey would not be easy, but the lessons he learned on the streets and in church would prepare him for the trials ahead. Clifton Powell never set out to be an actor. In fact, his childhood dreams were focused on becoming a football player, not a star on the big screen. "I never had a plan for acting," he admitted. However, a pivotal moment during his time at St. Anonis High School changed everything. The school was putting on a production of Lil Abner, and for reasons he couldn't explain, Powell decided to give it a try. "I told Mr. R that I wanted to do the play," Powell recalled. At the time, few young men chose the arts, but Mr. R saw potential in Powell and gave him the opportunity to shine. That was the spark that ignited Powell's passion for acting, leading him to pursue it with a fervor that would carry him through some of the toughest moments of his life. But even after deciding to step into the world of theater, Powell faced multiple challenges. He didn't have a traditional drama background, and the odds were stacked against him in an industry that often favored those with connections or formal training. Yet Powell's tenacity and raw talent stood out, pushing him to overcome the barriers that seemed to stand in his way. After high school, Powell took his newfound passion seriously and enrolled in Emerson College in 1974. While many of his classmates were distracted by the college party scene, Powell dedicated himself to perfecting his craft. He spent countless hours rehearsing lines, attending auditions, and recording his performances to refine his skills. His discipline set him apart from the others, and by the time he graduated, he was ready to take on the world of acting. It wasn't long before Powell was able to secure some minor roles in films and television shows. While these early gigs didn't bring him fame, they gave him the opportunity to develop his craft and learn from some of the best in the business. Each role, no matter how small, was a stepping stone to something greater, and Powell never lost sight of his ultimate goal, to make it big in Hollywood. As Powell's career began to take off in the 1990s, he landed notable roles in films such as Menace to Society, where his portrayal of Chanty made a significant impact. This gritty film showcased Powell's undeniable talent and opened doors for him in Hollywood. His ability to play both comedic and dramatic roles allowed him to demonstrate his versatility, earning him recognition and accolades. He followed up with roles in Dead Presidents, Why Do Fools Fall in Love, and the Friday series, cementing his status as a sought-after actor. His portrayal of the tough but lovable character in Friday won the hearts of audiences, making Powell a household name. These roles showcased his incredible range as an actor and his ability to capture the hearts of audiences from all walks of life. But despite his professional success, Powell's personal life began to unravel. The pressures of fame, along with his own personal demons, started to take a toll. His 20-year marriage to Kimberly ended in divorce, and Powell admitted that he had let his reckless lifestyle, marked by gambling, chasing women, and neglecting his family, get the best of him. "I lost everything in that divorce, including $5 million, he revealed. "I gambled away $30,000 to $50,000 a year. I had women, a fast lifestyle, and no balance." But the most painful regret for Powell was the time he had lost with his children. "I wasn't there for them as much as I should have been," he confessed. This realization would haunt Powell for years, but it also served as a wake-up call, forcing him to reevaluate his life and priorities. This self-awareness became a catalyst for change. Powell began to make efforts to repair his relationship with his children, to spend more time with them, and to reconnect with the people who truly mattered in his life. Just when things seemed to be spiraling out of control, Powell faced another devastating challenge. In August 2011, a woman named Keontae Myers accused him of raping her in a hotel room in New Orleans. According to Myers, Powell had initially consented to sex, but when she asked him to stop because it became too rough, he allegedly ignored her request. This accusation sent shockwaves through Powell's world, and the media quickly latched onto the story, with TMZ breaking the news to the public. Powell vehemently denied the allegations through his representative, stating, "Mr. Powell absolutely denies these false accusations and plans to pursue all legal remedies available to him." The media storm that followed was intense, and Powell found himself facing not just a legal battle, but a public relations nightmare. Although the case was initially dismissed due to a lack of evidence, Myers later filed a civil lawsuit seeking damages. The accusations were a crushing blow to Powell's reputation, and he found himself fighting not only for his career but also for his freedom and integrity. "I have a 22-year-old daughter. I would never hurt anyone," Powell stated, defending himself against the allegations. The emotional toll of the situation was immense. "It's been the worst time in my life," Powell admitted. "Some jobs just went away." The accusations cast a shadow over his career, causing many of his upcoming roles to evaporate. Despite his innocence, the damage to his reputation was done. Public opinion quickly turned against him, and Powell found himself out of work, struggling to rebuild his life and career. Years later, in a 2017 interview, Powell revealed that the civil case against him had been dismissed, but by that time, the damage had already been done. His name was tarnished, and Hollywood had largely distanced itself from him. The stigma surrounding the allegations remained, and Powell became a cautionary tale for many in the industry. But even in the face of adversity, Powell refused to let the past define him. He continued to fight for his place in Hollywood, determined to prove that he still had the talent and the will to succeed. In addition to the legal battles, Powell also faced discrimination and colorism in Hollywood. He spoke about how some networks rejected him based on his skin color, labeling him too dark for certain roles. This added yet another layer of difficulty to his already challenging career. But despite these obstacles, Powell continued to press on, determined to reclaim his place in the industry. His perseverance paid off when, in 2005, Powell received a significant honor when he was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for his role in Ray. This nomination served as a reminder that Powell's talent had not been forgotten. Slowly, but surely, Powell managed to rebuild his career, taking on roles in smaller projects and earning the respect of those who had once doubted him. Finally, after years of fighting to clear his name, Powell's legal battles came to an end when the case was officially dismissed. The court found insufficient evidence to support the accusations, allowing Powell to regain his good name. With the final verdict in his favor, Powell was able to move forward, leaving the past behind and focusing on what mattered most: his family, his career, and his legacy. Clifton Powell's journey is a testament to resilience. From the streets of DC to the heights of Hollywood, he has faced unimaginable challenges and setbacks. But through it all, he has shown that no matter how tough life gets, with determination and the right support, it is possible to rise again.